Please be seated. Proceedings are resumed. Recognize Honorable Premier. You have 37 minutes remaining, Honorable Premier.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I don't propose to use all of that time. But, Madam Speaker, I have addressed, I think, most of the issues. My voice is kind of letting me down today, too. But, Madam Speaker, I do want to address something that was raised by the third elected member from West Bay in his contribution yesterday. Before I do that, I just make an observation, Madam Speaker. I thought that the contribution by the member yesterday was certainly the best that I have heard since he's been here. I just thought it was unfortunate that what was, in most instances, a good, solid speech, which had lots of the member invested in it, and his passion and his care and his thought, that it was, to a certain extent, detracted from by him reading the obituary of the UDP during a part of it. And he stumbled. You could tell when he was reading this stuff that somebody else had written for him, because he stumbled over parts of it. It was not the member's own words, and probably not even his own beliefs. But nonetheless, Madam Speaker, he did raise an important matter which I would like to deal with. He read, Madam Speaker, a letter from the leader of the opposition to me in my capacity principally as the Minister with responsibility for health, which addressed the MRCU's Oxitec project and the use of the genetically modified mosquito, Aedes aegypti mosquito, as part of the control measures being employed by MRCU to reduce significantly, if not eliminate, this very dangerous vector of diseases, in particular chikungunya, dengue, and now the fearsome Zika virus. Madam Speaker, we thought that having been able to, the MRCU and Oxitec folk having been able to address the members, specifically the members from West Bay, about this matter, that we were able to proceed with their blessing. But as the letter read yesterday indicates, apparently some other influences, if I may call them that, have caused the leader of the opposition and his two West Bay colleagues to now take the position that we should not proceed with the program. But perhaps if I could find a copy of the letter, I could read it. But Madam Speaker, the leader of the opposition is saying that in fact what they're asking for is that the project be put on pause essentially until there's been more education about the matter. Madam Speaker, the situation is grave, and the risk of this disease actually occurring in Cayman is significant. And the only way to deal with it is to significantly reduce, if not eliminate, the Aedes aegypti vector. And that is why there is real urgency in dealing with the matter. Madam Speaker, I responded to the letter from the Honorable Leader of the Opposition this morning, and as the third elected member for West Bay has read their letter into the Hansards of this House, I would like to apprise members of the response. And the response, Madam Speaker, sets out in some detail the background to this matter and how this program is being implemented, and I hope will go some way to alleviate the concerns which have been raised by the Leader of the Opposition.
Is it your intention to lay the letter, Honorable Premier?
With your permission, ma'am, yes.
Okay, please proceed.
The letter is the 10th of June to the Honorable Leader of the Opposition. Dear Sir, re-MRCU's Oxitec project, release of genetically modified Aedes aegypti mosquitoes. I'm writing further to your letter of 8th June 2016, expressing your concerns regarding the release of the Oxitec genetically modified Aedes aegypti mosquitoes, asking the government to put the project on hold to get, quote, scientific answers to scientific questions, unquote. The Aedes aegypti mosquito is an invasive species that has become established in locations around Grand Cayman. It is the vector for many of the major vector-borne diseases, dengue, yellow fever, chikungunya, and now Zika. The World Health Organization estimates that there are over 390 million dengue infections per year, resulting in hospitalization of nearly 500,000 people annually, of which approximately 2.5%, over 12,000 people, die. Yellow fever has seen a recent reemergence, with the WHO reporting more than 30,000 deaths in 2013. Chikungunya, which leaves some affected people with agonizing and debilitating joint pain for several months, swept across the Caribbean region in recent years, with 1 million suspected cases reported in the Pan American region alone in 2014. You will have read that the WHO has declared that Zika virus is a, quote, public health emergency, unquote, due to its explosive spread and the very concerning link that has been established between Zika virus and microcephaly and Guillain-Barré syndrome. These 4 vector-borne diseases, with their significant global burden, all have the potential to impact the residents and visitors of the Cayman Islands because we have the Aedes aegypti established here. MRCU has done an outstanding job in controlling the Aedes aegypti population here. However, they're finding it increasingly difficult to do so. The Aedes aegypti are showing resistance to many of the available insecticides, and their ability to lay their eggs in very small quantities of water around houses makes it virtually impossible to eliminate all of their breeding sites. These are challenges that are not unique to our situation here. They are being faced around the world wherever the Aedes aegypti is found. As a result, there is an urgent need to identify and employ new tools in the control of this disease vector. The Oxitec genetically modified mosquitoes are one such tool. The use of genetically modified sterile males will be an additional tool to be used in an integrated way with all other feasible methods to combat the public health danger posed by this mosquito. This is being done as a proactive measure and is therefore a preventative approach to public health protection. The government has endorsed the Oxitec project as we believe we have an obligation to protect our residents and visitors from these vector-borne diseases, and we believe that this project will help us improve the level of protection. In your letter to me, you expressed your concerns about the need for further risk assessments and, quote, scientific answers, unquote. You should be aware that the World Health Organization recommends the use of this technique, following a thorough review by an independent group of renowned scientists from around the world. In addition, in March 2016, the United States Food and Administration published a preliminary finding of no significant impacts, which concluded that a planned Oxitec trial in Key West would not have a negative impact on human health or the environment. The public consultation phase on this preliminary finding has recently finished, and the final position of the FDA will be issued in due course. There was a tremendous amount of information and research submitted to the FDA as part of the process leading up to the preliminary finding of no significant impacts. And I believe that combined with the endorsement from the WHO and the results from Oxitec's work in other jurisdictions represents a robust body of scientific answers to support the project. I am of the view that the Cayman Islands stands to benefit tremendously from Oxitec's collaboration with MRCU. It represents a new and innovative tool that the MRCU can add to their arsenal to help reduce the Aedes aegypti population and therefore protect our people. It also gives us an opportunity to make a contribution to public health on a global scale by being part of finding solutions to this global health problem. With the rainy season recently started, we're already seeing increasing mosquito population numbers, including the Aedes aegypti, so time is of the essence if we want to ensure people have the best possible protection from dengue, chikungunya, and Zika. With that goal in mind, I regrettably cannot accede to your request to put the project on hold, as I do not believe it would be in the best interest of the Cayman Islands. I've asked MRCU and Oxitec Cayman to continue their public education efforts, and I encourage you and the people of the Cayman Islands to continue to engage with MRCU and Oxitec and learn more about this important and innovative project. Yours sincerely, Alden McLaughlin, Premier. And so, Madam Speaker, I thought it was important. This is a critical public health issue and one which the ministry and the government are taking most seriously. And I felt it was important that not just the leader of the opposition and his West Bay team, but all members of this House and the broader public are aware of not only the measures the government is taking to deal with this issue, but also to be aware of the fact that this is something that has been very carefully considered and is supported by scientific evidence. Madam Speaker, if I may now lay a copy of this letter on the table.
So ordered.
Madam Speaker, before wrapping up, as this was raised in the course of the debate as well, I want to say to this Honourable House that I have listened to varying views around the rights of LGBT people. I do appreciate and indeed respect the views of every single member of this House on this issue. And I know, Lord, do I know, that some of you have very deep convictions around this issue. Madam Speaker, my view, and the one which I have espoused before, is simply this. When I read my Bible and ponder the teachings of Christ, I recall well his exhortation to us to love one another as I have loved you. I do believe we need to love and be tolerant of one another and appreciate that discrimination in any form is wrong. Our Constitution specifically speaks to Cayman being a God-fearing country based on traditional Christian principles, including tolerance. So I implore this House, Madam Speaker, that in all of our deliberations, amidst all of our convictions, we always try to put tolerance of others at the fore of what we say. Madam Speaker, there has been a call by the first elected member of Bodden Town, and I believe it was picked up by the leader of the opposition as well, for a referendum on the issue of, I'm not sure if it was same-sex marriage or same-sex relationships being acknowledged or recognized. I can't quite remember which, or if there was a distinction, but around that issue anyhow. Madam Speaker, we have said before, I have said before, this government is not pushing, nor are we prepared to move towards the recognition of same-sex unions or same-sex or civil unions or whatever they want to or same-sex marriages or any such thing. So there need not be any concern on the side of, on the opposition side or anywhere else that that is what is part of this government's agenda. Quite what the UK does with respect to this issue is another matter entirely. And the efforts we have made so far, although we have gotten so far nowhere really, are about avoiding as far as possible the making of an order in council which would impose such things on a country and a people who thus far, I have no indication, would like to see that as part of our culture. But when I speak about the discrimination issue, we must recognize always and bear in mind that we have a Bill of Rights that is part of our Constitution, which expressly prohibits discrimination on a range of issues, including, as the case law has interpreted the section, including sexual orientation. And we are also bound by the provisions of the European Convention on Human Rights, which is in similar terms. And so all of these things bear on what we can and cannot do as a government. And I just wish members to take all of those things into consideration when they are espousing on this particular and most controversial point. But no one need fear, nor do I believe we need a referendum, because the government is certainly not moving in the direction to recognize same-sex unions. That is not part of our agenda. Madam Speaker, in closing, I know that the country can see that we have delivered on our promises and have been one of the most productive governments this country has ever seen. We made many promises in the election campaign, and early in our tenure, we set out our plans. We have worked hard and long over these 3 years, and I'm grateful to all of the members of this government who have worked to help us get where we are and achieve these things. And Madam Speaker, whilst we have regrettably lost a few along the way, I wish to thank our former colleagues for their contributions during their time with the government. They were part of us, and while I may not fully understand all of their reasons for leaving, the reality is they made significant contributions while they were here. The facts are the facts. We will work over the course of the year to complete our plans and to gear up for the election to come. We remain ambitious for the future of these islands and for the future of all Caymanians. We have put in place the platform from which to achieve our collective ambitions with the delivery of the promises we made and with successful implementation of our plans. We have achieved our goals of strong economic growth and sound public finances. Our achievements over the course of this term are proof positive of this government's ability to achieve our ambitions. Some politicians, some members opposite, particularly the leader of the opposition, as well as the members from East End and North Side, appear more comfortable being stuck in and living in the past, fighting the same wearisome old battles of yesterday. That attitude and approach achieves absolutely nothing for the people of the country. It does the opposite and ruins the prospects for our people. But the country can rest assured that neither I, as Premier, nor the government as a whole will be distracted from our duty and mission by political stunts and sideshows by those whose future is now well and truly past. Madam Speaker, as I said in previous times, there can be no going back. No going back to the days of personality politics and a government focused on self-aggrandizement and political survival. Instead, Madam Speaker, what we need is the politics of ambition and action, with government focused on what is best for the people it serves. What we need is not to go back, but to go forward. What we need is continued progress. Madam Speaker, I believe that this progressives-led government has shown it can deliver this and more. We have delivered on our promises, and we have shown that we are the government that can get things done. Madam Speaker, I thank you for your time and attention, and I believe that concludes the debate on the throne speech, budget address, and the government's policy statement for this 2016-2017 financial year.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Appropriation July 2016 to December 2017 Bill 2016 be given a second reading. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, no. The ayes have it. The bill shortly entitled the Appropriation July 2016 to December 2017 Bill 2016 has been given a second reading. Recognized the Honourable Premier for the motion and the adjournment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for your assistance there. Madam Speaker, I move the adjournment of this Honourable House until the completion of Finance Committee on the budget just presented.
Member from Northside, you wish to make a contribution? The question is that this Honourable House be now adjourned to allow the Finance Committee to commence its proceedings at 2:30 on Tuesday afternoon until the completion of the Finance Committee. All those are favor. Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Madam Speaker, do we come back to the House or do we come back to Finance Committee? That is the question.
We come back to Finance Committee, that's what I was just proposing. Let me repeat. The question is that this Honourable House do stand adjourned until the completion of Finance Committee, which is to convene at 2:30 p.m. on Tuesday. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, no. The ayes have it. Accordingly, the House now stands adjourned until the completion of Finance Committee, which will commence on Tuesday at 2:30 p.m.